Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukaki, your host. It's the night before the Thiefy Awards show, and our heroes finally have a proper heist plan. But will Alan successfully be able to track the Soul Stones? If everything goes as planned, will the Thiefy end up going to Bryn or Quinny? Will Bobbert even be able to seduce Merle Streep, or will the whole plan be over before it starts? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
So the evening is nearing its end. There's currently only one task left before the day of the Thiefies.
It's fucking Merle time.
Before we head off, I want to pull Quinny aside and just let him know about the information about the soul and Alan's use of magic and say, listen, Quinny, I know Alan means a lot to you. I just want you to keep a close eye on her because she's been using magic without realizing that doing magic takes a part of your soul, or can. So just be careful and watch her.
Does she know that now?
She does.
Well, I trust Alan. If she knows it, she'll be careful.
She might not be able to help herself.
When they come back out, I take Quinny aside into my room that's separate. Quinny, Jesus, what? I'm trying to be your friend right now, and you're seeming real grumpy.
I'm sorry, just a lot of people chewing on my ear. What's up?
I need you to check the door to make sure nobody's listening, because I am notoriously bad at this.
I open the door.
Bryn, you want to roll me a stealth check?
God damn. That's a 1. I'm not listening.
She's leaning against the door and falls into the room.
I open the door into Bryn.
Get out
As
of here.
she falls in, the glass she was using to hear shatters, and Larry, who is holding a smaller glass, also leans in, and his shatters, and he looks at her and he's like, I actually don't know what to do in this situation. I've never broken one of these of my own accord.
Clean it up, Larry.
That's a good call, Mr. Quinny.
I call Alan over, and I'm like, Alan, can you take Bryn into a room, like the furthest room from us, and make sure she stays in there?
Fine.
Thank you.
Sisters.
Larry sweeps up the glass and leaves.
And they're in the other room. So I've got Quinny in my now secure fucking room, thank God. I'm like, Quinny,
What?
right now, Bryn gets the thiefy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need the award, or do you need the trophy to get your goals?
Honestly, I need the recognition. So I'm going to try and figure that out myself.
All I wanted to say is, we've got our plan, and it's super clear. And if you tell me what your plan is, I'm definitely going to fuck that up. So let's just agree that we're all on a team. And all I'm saying is, theoretically, if you make a move that's for you and you give me the signal, I'll back you as long as it doesn't get her killed. We can't do that.
I
But
need you to be clear with me on what the signal is.
I'm going to let you choose.
No, because if I choose and you don't pick it up, I'm fucked.
Well, let's be honest. The chances of me not picking it up are pretty much even across the board. So why don't you pick it?
I mean, we get like the dog's purpose thing down every time. There's precedence here where we can do this.
So you pick a signal that you know I'll notice.
A signal that I know you'll notice. Jeez. Quinny like kind of smiles and says, Moonhammer be praised.
I punch Quinny in the stomach.
Can you roll me a d4, please, and add your strength?
4 damage.
Quinny's like, all right, we'll decide on the date.
Thank you. Let's not try that again, mainly for your sake. Also, Quinny, I need you to help me fix or make a harness.
Yeah, that's no problem. With your knowledge of making dog papooses and...
Oh, I make a great Bjorn. So we go back outside, and then we can start making stuff. Alan, I need to talk to you for a minute. And I just take Alan into my room, and I'm like, listen, I just felt like you were being excluded, and I just want you to know that you're like really a special friend to me.
Well, back at you.
Cool. Also, thanks for letting me learn how to do it in your brain.
It was an experience we don't have to have again.
In person next time. And then we just go out of the room. Let's go.
And then Larry's like, Goblin Jr., I need to take you aside for a moment. Larry and Goblin Jr. go into one of the side rooms. You know, we haven't got to spend much time together, but I think you're a very good boy. And he pats Goblin Jr. on the head. Goblin Jr.'s like, snarf, snarf. And then they come back out.
I'm ready to go bone a lady.
Question about the plan.
Hey, what's up?
Which scrying pool is Bryn going to? Sorry, I got confused about
Security
that.
scrying
one,
pools.
the security one.
I think to clarify for you, there's 3 rooms. There's the one
Yeah.
that makes locations, there's casino security, and there's guild security. And casino and guild security are separate rooms.
Right.
You were in guild
I was
security.
in guild security.
If what you're thinking is that you might want to take that out tomorrow night, that might be a very reasonable addition to our plan.
Yeah,
'cause-
no, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure I understood.
So we'll make that the official Alan part of that plan.
I'm taking out the guild security, whatever that pool was. I didn't like it. It's gotta go.
I like threatening Alan.
Did anyone else have any last minute additions, or are we good to go on?
Let's go steal a painting.
Okay. Merle has been preparing for the night after the awards. You know, it's the day before the awards right now, so she's picked out her outfit. She's decided to go to bed early. things are pretty okay. But then suddenly, there's a knock on her elevator, and the door opens.
Knock, knock.
And who should she see but her warrior love?
It is I, the Forsaken.
Oh, and she's clearly in her pajamas. She's not made up at all. She's just like clearly someone who was asleep and comfortable. She's like, wait, what? Why are you here?
I like your pajamas.
Thank you. Look, I've got a big day tomorrow.
Don't we all? But I know you wanted something tomorrow night.
Yes, tomorrow
And
night.
perhaps you'd like an advance showing.
And roll me a check.
Listen, if you need me to.
I do.
I think I'm sexy.
She's really tired and she has to win an award tomorrow. This is terrible timing.
Nat 20.
Rips her
As the
pajamas
sexiness
off.
is happening, I try to slip by.
Yeah, roll me a stealth check, please.
I'm pretty hot, though. Doesn't that give, like, advantage? That was a
Yeah,
nat.
sure, I'll give you advantage because woof.
It's not any better.
So just to be clear, I want to paint
That's
a picture
15.
of what I'm doing. As she starts to wake up and I see she's getting into it, I start removing pieces of my armor and letting them fall.
What song do we have?
This one is definitely Rod Stewart. If you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know the name of that song, but that's the song. So it's like very
Young Turks,
It's very
obviously.
80s and sort of synth. And as the pieces of the armor come off and hit the floor, it's a little bit flirty, but still sort of hot, and that it's got a sense of humor about it, but there's also an underlying sense of me wanting to kill myself and all of the world to share my pain.
Magic Bobbert,
Yeah, so
XXL.
as the armor starts to come off, it's revealed that underneath we had to do like expansive work on the fuck harness that we took off of Kalos, but everything I owned was like black leather and spikes, so it's like a hardcore muscle daddy outfit just underneath. This is the point where we realize that I still don't understand what sex is because I just think it's the dancing Quinny did. So I'm doing like a full Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies level strip dance. I am like cut as shit. I look amazing. Like it is 8% body fat. I'm still 240. Everything you want in a man. And I'm
Tell you,
so
as soon
lean.
as that mug broke, your beer gut went away.
Well, it's
and-
just he's like the reverse of a typical hero's journey where they go from like schlubby and like beard when they hate themselves. It's like for him, his natural state is incredibly attractive and he hates it. So he ruins himself whenever he's doing good. So he's just like dancing away and it's amazing. The dance is so good.
You know what? I would fault you so hard for everything you just described. But god damn it, you rolled a 20. Samoral's like, I love a confused sense of sexuality. And then she starts dancing and trying to like keep step. She's real bad at it. But it's okay because it's not a true seduction.
For me, I think she's crushing it. So I start to make my moves more awkward to match hers, but we end up finding each other's rhythm. So now it's the two of us doing what anyone else would think is essentially a 1980s Rod Stewart dance-off. I've also started whistling the song so we can really sync up.
Bryn, what did you roll on your stealth check?
15.
You've snuck in and out of a lot of things before. You've also had to like seduce people in your line of work. This is unlike anything you've ever seen.
My face is still blurred. It looks like a nightmare.
I'm also sneaking in the painter.
Yes, you're sneaking in and one of her fast draws.
Yes.
Ironically, though, as you start to sneak in, you kind of like sneak, but the painter drops something and you just freeze for a minute.
The moment that item hits the ground, I lunge forward and make out with Merle, but in the style that I do at the Greywater Syndicate, which for me, it's like a handshake hello, but for her, it's the most erotic kiss she's ever had because that's how Greywaters do.
Yeah, okay, she rolled a 7, so she's into that. She's also an orc, so she's like, oh, this is really nice. Bryn, you and your painter literally just walk in. So you're able to take the painting off the wall. Can you tell me about the poses you're making as you're taking it off the wall?
It's just a series of robotic movements, but throwing her the middle finger every once in a while because I know she's not paying attention to me and I'm throwing in every shot I can.
Are you getting your painter to make like a flip book?
Yeah.
So you've got the painting off the wall and you're looking at that dagger and you're looking at that big empty space on the wall behind the curtain. You're going to do your customary
She just carves the word Zorro.
Yes, I'd like to carve the nightingale symbol in there.
roll to carve your signature in.
16.
The 16 is merely to do a bunch of knife tricks with your free hand while you blind carve your insignia into the wall.
Simultaneously, as she starts cutting the wall and I could hear that sound, I start ripping my clothes and Merle's clothes with every cut so that there's like a ripping fabric in the room to like cover the slices.
And as you do so, you hear her just go, I thought you liked these pajamas.
I like you even more.
Oh, you know
and then I
just what to say.
I keep ripping them, and then I'm seeing her body, and it's new It's exciting. It's also scary. So to stay calm in my head, I'm just imagining it's Alan because I've seen Alans do a lot now. So Alan is like my sexual safe zone. So I'm learning about
you say
anatomy.
that?
My God.
Can you roll me a perception check, please?
Sexual
That is a nat one.
safe zone.
What am I picturing, DM?
So you see Alan, you're like, okay, I can deal with this. You see Quinny, you're like, all right, yeah, I
that's
can
better.
deal with this. But then his mustache starts growing out of his lip, and suddenly his clothes are really loud, and he's just looking at you, and he's like, huzzah, the Forsaken. 3 huzzahs for me. Bumbershoot.
I know what you like. I combine my usual fall down tackle with like a vaguely erotic sense, and I do a spin, and then Bumbershoot ends up on top of me, and I'm like, oh, shiver your timbers.
I love it when you talk pirate.
Oh, good. I've murdered so many people on the ocean, I say to her.
Bryn, can you please roll me a Constitution save?
7.
Again, you've done some undercover fuckery. Like, this is too much.
Yeah.
You start retching. It's just hit something deep inside you that
it's
you're just
not
not
right.
okay with.
It's just not right.
And hearing her retching, I do what I did before, which is try to cover it by making sounds of myself. So I start dry humping up at Bumbershoot, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Like just making sounds to cover the sound of the retching.
Throw up a little into a vase nearby.
The sketcher is just still sketching with confused look on his face. Merle's like, okay, all right. Emily. And all of a sudden, Emily bursts in. You have 2 seconds to react.
I want to throw the curtain over Emily's head and
Can you roll me an attack, please, with your dexterity?
A curtain attack.
no. 5.
Ooh. You throw the curtain at Emily, but Emily's had so many jackets thrown on her desk over the years that she catches it expertly.
That's fair.
You feel like you have time for one more action. What do?
I'm going to try and take her out at the feet.
Roll an attack, please.
Oh my God. 8.
So you sweep the leg, and Emily, having walked around on airships in heels, just leaps over it. And then she looks at you. She looks at Merle. She looks at the Forsaken.
Throw up a little.
She looks at the sketcher.
Can I spend stress to help out here?
Yes?
Yeah. Quinny, who was basically hiding in like the ceiling of the elevator, hands and feet pressed against each wall, swings down, wraps his legs around her neck, and then just swings back into the elevator around Emily's neck.
I'll give you the action. I'm going to take your 2 stress, and I'm going to lower your max HP by 4 until you have time to get healed up. Like, this is really stressful. Like, this is an exhausting...
I thought this was another like necrotizing thing. I was like, Jesus, I'm going to be a baby forever.
No, you just like pull ligaments in both legs.
Yeah. It hurts. So for the rest of this adventure, you're down to 40 from 44, yeah?
Okay.
I'm still going to make you roll for that. So please roll me a...
Sneak attack?
yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there you are, Peter.
My marbles.
Is this like an unarmed?
No, I'll give you your weapon damage.
You take your sheathed sword and you wrap it around her neck to pull her back in. So actually you swung
Got
down
knife boots.
Your feet are like tucked in above the door, and you do like a full body back swing out and just loop her in.
So that's 24.
Oh, yeah, that'll do.
Okay. And I'm going to use, for the first time, Frostbrand. So that's...
Oh, that's his
Yeah.
new special sword.
So 1d6 plus 1d6 cold damage plus 3d6 surprise attack.
You can just roll 5d6.
Yeah, I'm going to do it all, yeah. 21.
And what is your intent?
She's going to get a real sore throat from having the flat edge of Frostbrand put flat against her throat, so it actually like almost like freezes up her vocal cords because it has like an ice effect. So she just might go like, as I just like bring her into the elevator. And then
you
I
fully solid snake her.
I follow it with basically like a sleeper hold. Like I remove my sword and put my arm around her instead and just like, go to sleep. It's bedtime.
Bryn, you're just standing there having just awkwardly thrown a curtain at someone going, hiya, and then trying to shoot their leg, and it failed horribly, and then suddenly that person just disappears into an elevator, and you're like, I did it. And then a second later, a halfling dressed like Emily comes out and says to Merle,
Yes?
and Merle's like, I appreciate Mr. Forsaken's efforts here, Emily, but I believe we're done. You're looking rather well, Emily.
Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate your new non-British voice. Take him away.
Right away, ma'am. Yes, I'm just trying something out. Glad you like it.
I just rolled, and it turns out I rather do.
Ho-ho!
Mickey?
No, We've established her name is... Wait, who said that? But it's too late. You snuck out. The painter has rushed out. And Mr. Forsaken, you were taken by Emily.
I like scoop up my armor. Like it's one of those awkward scenarios where I have to use like the cape from my harness and I like scoop up my armor. And I'm ashamed that I failed at sex for the first time.
As you go, she puts her hand on your cheek and says...
Your butt cheek.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Sorry, I was just being dumb.
Well, I mean, he's walking away. And then she whispers in your ear, we'll always have the airship. And then she pushes you into the elevator. The elevator dings.
So I'm standing holding my armor in a fuck harness. I look amazing, but terrible. And I just look down and see Emily's on the floor.
Wearing my clothes.
Well, that's generous of you, but I doubt it. I feel like she's just in her underclothes. I don't want to talk about this. Now I know I'm bad at sex, but I don't know if it's me or if it was the thievery going on behind me that I'm covering. I look at Bryn and I say, you may have given me a phobia.
Did I manage to leave behind a copy? Can it be on her pillow?
If you spend some stress, sure.
Yes.
For 2 stress, then when all this was going, you managed to throw a flip book onto the bed, and perhaps that's why you failed to dismantle Emily. You're just like, fuck off, Emily. Like, you tried to kick her leg, and then you...
That was more important.
I look down at Emily on the ground. I'm so sorry, but you're definitely going to get fired for this. And I pick her up, and I'm going to carry her back to our hotel room so that she's safe.
Yeah, let's make
Bobbert,
the plan more complicated.
I'll give you Emily for free because Quinny rolled very well.
Great. I knew it wasn't going to be a problem.
Meanwhile, Alan's been sleeping soundly.
The smartest of all of us.
I've just been working on the stones.
Can you roll me an Arcana check, please?
Totes. That is 25.
Were you trying to enchant Kalos' stone, or...
No, I'm actually going to use minor conjuration for this because I can actually create like a small object that has a magical glow and it lasts for an hour. I forgot about that.
That's okay. You'll have to try and pass it past whoever you're sneaking it past. Okay, so you all head to bed.
Knowing I have to send those messages at the end of the night, I'm going to do 2 things simultaneously. I'm going to call Annan, and I'm going to bring her up to pass our messages to the Plantiers so that they know what their job is tomorrow and like where to show up and what's expected. And I guarantee them their soul stones, they're involved. And when Annan comes in, Emily is still unconscious. And I'm just going to introduce Annan to unconscious Emily. And I'm like, Larry will help you take her out. But she definitely was in a hostile work situation that was going to end poorly. I think she'd be a great intern. Bring her into the management company. I think she needs a job. So I have Larry carry Emily out to go join Annan's management company.
Larry the Goblin drags unconscious, frozen-throated Emily into the elevator on his little dustbin, because that's the only way he knows how to get shit out of places.
Yeah, but I'm like, take care of her. She really honestly was great at her job, and we really fucked her over.
Having completed your quest to steal the portrait, you all get ready to take your final rest before the big day of the thiefies. In her room, Merle finds a very strange flip book on her pillow, and though you're not there, she swears vengeance. Meanwhile, the rest of you are getting ready for bed. Any last things you want to say to each other before you go to bed?
I think Quinny hasn't had much solo time with Goblin Jr. So I think I'm just giving like a little scratch behind the ear and stuff like that. Just kind of sit away from everyone and probably confiding in Goblin Jr. because Goblin Jr. can't really talk to anyone. Just being like, I joked around with Butthole. I'm going to call him Butthole while I talk to you.
Snarf.
Joked around about like we house having like a code word being like Moonhammer be praised. And do you know how much the old Butthole would have loved it to hear me say that?
Snarf.
He punched me.
Snarf.
When that guy sets his mind to something, he is unstoppable.
And Goblin Jr.
crazy.
Looks at you while still painted as Death Wolf with the look of, you don't say.
Yeah, all right. Shut up.
Snarf, snarf. In kind of a shut up way, but then like nuzzles you affectionately.
All right. I'm going to bed.
Snarf. And then he like pulls the sheet up over you, and then he digs under the sheet and grabs your arm and like pulls it up over the sheet and kind of like dangles your arm a little bit, reminding you of that time that you murdered all the goblins and used the fake arm. So that's kind of his thing with you.
That's right, yeah.
And then he nods to you and he leaves.
All right.
I knock on Alan's door, and when it opens, I look in and I'm like, Alan?
Hello?
I just wanted you to know I'm so glad you're not Bumbershoot. And then I just walk away.
Anyone else would be confused by that, but that's such par for the course, and it's something weird and sexual, I'm sure. So, okay.
Bryn, anything before you go to bed?
I just say to them all, I haven't said it yet, but thank you for helping me. I really hate Merle.
No problem. Hey, Bryn, I'm having like a cuddle party with the weirdos in my room. Do you want to come over?
And it's a very generous offer, but we have a big day tomorrow, so I'll pass, buddy.
Okay.
And so some of us in our piles of weirdos, some of us with our thoughts of our hatred of Meryl Streep, some of us wondering about Bumbershoot's sexual fantasies, and some of us named Quinny all fall asleep. So the day of the Thiefies has finally arrived. All of you had a gently uncertain sleep, but you awake. Quinny, this is something you've always dreamed about and something you never really anticipated would happen. Thiefies are a pretty big day for you. Bobbert, I think you wake up, you've been lacking purpose for a while, but at least you've got a chance to help some friends. Bryn, you've committed minor vengeance, but today is the day of true vengeance. And Alan, what did he mean about Bumbershoot? So
She has problems with her dad. She's discovered a sister. She's surrounded by mages and losing her soul. And she's like, I don't like that fuck dream.
all right, the day begins. You know that the very first part of the Thiefies is, of course, the black carpet ceremony where all the VIPs show off what they're wearing. This seems like a great chance to sneak a fake soulstone in, as well as possibly the best chance, Bryn, that you'll get. Well, almost everyone is distracted and looking elsewhere because, in theory, if everyone's attention is on the black carpet, likely security will be low because they're just looking at one thing. So the way this is going to work is I'm basically going to walk you through the phases of what's happening during the Thiefies, and then we're going to roll to see what happens during your various plans. You've made your plan is now in place. Those of you who still have stress remaining can spend it to try and alter things that you may have forgotten. Otherwise, we're just burning ahead. I will warn you, this will feel a bit more narrative than what we've been doing traditionally, but that's how a great heist comes together. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Thiefies. You currently have a naked portrait of Lord Neverember that you know he wants, that you want to try and sell to Riker in order to make the Forsaken the person who reads the envelope and announces the thiefy. Who are you going to send to try and convince him to make the Forsaken the announcer?
I think the most logical person would be Alan. You're the most in his favor right now.
He doesn't know who I am or care.
He's kind of angry at me right now.
I am the Forsaken. No one wants to talk to me.
Snarf, snarf. Translates to, honestly, I'm a great negotiator. No one ever trusts me.
No, I agree. It falls to me. I will do my best.
So, Alan, you take this giant painting in hand. It's rather awkward. It's awkward to walk with.
I cover it with a sheet. I'm not going to walk around with this.
Yeah, now's the time for modesty.
I pull Bobbert aside and just say, listen, no matter what, I need you to read the name that is on that envelope. When you get it, you need to read that name. You have to promise me.
But what if it says, like, Meryl Streep?
Just promise me you'll read the name.
I promise I will read the name unless it's Meryl Streep.
Okay.
I hope it's me.
Let's go through the order of your plan then. Alan has stayed up most of the night enchanting a false stone, which he gives to Quinny. Quinny, which tubes are you going to try and throw these down? You going to the lobby or are you going to the airship lobby?
Airship.
You head up with the false soulstone in hand. As a professional thief who's dreamed of this your whole life, how weird is it for you to be away from the main action right now?
It sucks, but I recognize that as a thief, I didn't come up with the plan, right? So it's on me to carry out my role. I know that's important when pulling heists and stuff like that. And like, it's a little unbecoming of the greatest thief that ever lived. You know, I'm about to be part of the heist that stole Thiefies, but I'm starting to think about like, okay, what's the next big score? Because Quiddy Brown Barrow isn't the name on like everybody's lips yet. I got to think of something bigger that I can do for me.
Elevators ding. They open. It's mid-morning at this point. You know, it's kind of a beautiful vista to look over. You can see the desert in the distance, airships floating. To your left and your right, you see two different booths where you can drop off the stone. Can you roll me a perception check, please?
23.
The staff on the left look less attentive, but there are more of them. The staff on the right look very attentive, but there's only one or two.
I'm going to go with the large group of unattentive staff.
Great. We cut to Bryn. Bryn, unlike Quinny ascending up into sort of a beautiful night sky, you're descending back down to the security level. With you are Larry and Annan. Annan at this point no longer works for the Mirage, but has offered to help as best she can. And Larry, being a small, nimble fellow, is going to do the best that he can. The elevator dings, and it opens up into much the same area. I'm going to let you roll a stealth check with advantage because you know exactly what you're coming into this time.
Nat 20.
The doors ding, and we just see your feet. And then Larry comes around the side with a bag full of glasses, and he just whips those motherfuckers into the room, and they all shatter against a wall, and he's like, oh no, let me get that for you. And security's like, God damn it, Larry, all you Larrys are the same. It's not our fault. We're just doing our best. We're just doing what Larrys do. And he starts mopping up. The Larry from that floor is like, oh man, making us all look bad. And they're all like yelling at him, and he's making like inflammatory comments about the state of security. They get into an argument, and literally security just could not give less of a shit about you. You now have free reign of the floor. What do you do?
I do a couple stealth rolls and cartwheels around the entire rim of the pool. And then with a little panache, gently drop the bag into the pool.
As you do, Larry just looks over his shoulder and winks at you. And then he turns back to the other Larry, and he's like, it's the nightingale. And they both go, ooh. And then just as the thing hits the pool, because you rolled a 20, I'm going to give you one more action you can do on this floor.
Is there any way to disable the security spiders for a small amount of time to help out my fellow thievers?
Yeah, could you roll me a sleight of hand check?
Oh.
Back
That's
to
a
the
14.
shitty rolls.
14's all right. So you see that all the scrying pools are showing what the spiders are showing, but very quickly your eyes trace almost like nerves when you realize that the only way to control these eyes is through some sort of organic means. And you're able to trace a few of them, not all of them, but a few of them to central nerve piles.
Right.
Quickly popping out a small dagger, you just sever a bunch of them, and you immediately see a bunch of the scrying pools start to flicker and cut out.
Nice.
Throughout the hotel, suddenly spiders start falling off the wall, or their eyes explode, and then you can see the scrying pool that you drop the seeds into start to boil.
So we're going to get the hell out of here.
In like classic Ocean's 11 style, like you get in the elevator and you kind of nod, and Annan has been sketching the whole thing. She's like, I'm going to sell
remember.
so much of this.
We gave Annan the full adaptation rights for the novelization of this, and she secretly in the contract snuck in the rights to the traveling play.
Bryn, you're like back in there gesturing for everyone, and Larry does that classic Ocean's 11 thing where he's like, well, guess all the glass is clear here now. It's clearly not finished, but he just dumps what he's got left, and he just struts back in. And he takes his jacket off a hook in the elevator and throws it over his shoulder. Later, boys. And then the elevator closes. Cut to Bobbert.
So I'm doing the black carpet thing. I'm in my full black armor. I've had it polished. It looks sick. Deathwolf is with me in full armor. I've also got a lot of black silk streamers that are tied off and like decorative. I have a cape. I have all this fabric. And in the style of Conor McGregor going into a UFC fight, every streamer I'm wearing has stitched into the fabric. It just says "fuck Reginald" just over and over and over again. And on the my cape at the back just says "Reginald can't get hard." And I'm trying to talk to as many of the wizard journalists who are there with scrying stuff they've set up to go back to their lands. And every time I'm just bad-mouthing Reginald and saying how I'll kill him the first chance I get.
As you walk past certain parts of the crowd, you just hear people chanting like, wake us up inside. Wake us up inside.
Also,
And
I've been trying to find this reference for a while, and it just came to me. Larry is voiced by Bernie Mac. Let's continue.
you notice Goldtooth, who's just giving you 2 thumbs up. And as you walk by, he slips you his icon. Let my 3-leaf clover bring you luck.
And I say, thanks, buddy. And I don't attach it to the outside of my armor, but I reach up and attach it to the inside of my breastplate. So it's in there. And then I look at him and I say, may this bring you luck, young boy. And then I kiss him on the forehead because I said young boy and we're not crossing that line on this
Also
show.
going to say, he's missing so many teeth from getting mugged by both Quinny and Not Pete. You don't want to
Yeah.
kiss that mouth.
And I say, may you feel the pain that I do. And then I just walk away down the black carpet.
I do. So, Alan, the elevator dings and you enter Avalon Riker's chambers just in time to see him holding his hand out and a trophy materializes into it. As you come in, he kind of smiles and puts it behind his back.
I look like Larry, just an acknowledgement of what happened yesterday. And then I morph back into myself and say, hey, Dad.
And Chaz, who's also in the room, is like, the fuck? Like father, like daughter, I guess. On his way out, he's like, again, I am so sorry about what happened at Shag Nasty's.
Not a problem.
Oh, thank God. And he gets in the elevator and goes. Riker turns to you and says, so, Alan, I understand from Milos that you had an interesting conversation with them. Have you given any more thought to our offer?
I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I haven't quite made up my mind yet, Dad.
Well, offers don't last forever, Alan. I have a very busy day ahead, hosting the Thiefies and all.
About that, and I unveil the painting.
Good God, madam, why? Why? Lord Neverember, why?
I know, but I know what your business is, and I know that you sometimes need an advantage over certain influential people. And I thought that
I'm
this
listening.
might do you some good in the future with Lord Neverember.
You know, Alan, I always knew that you'd be better than Bryn. And here we are. Thank you. I'll take that. I appreciate all this, but again, I must be on my way.
One more thing.
This is the third one more thing, but go on.
I realize it's a tradition for yourself to hand out the thiefy. However, given the popularity of my friend, the Forsaken,
I love every time anyone has to say that.
might I suggest that as an acknowledgement of the grandeur of the events, that the Forsaken perhaps present the Thiefy award this year?
You know, Alan, that's not a bad idea. Roll me a persuasion check, please.
17.
You know, that sounds very good. Tell you what, agree to join the Wanderers, and your friend, the Forsaken, can deliver the Thiefy. Alan, I must say, we did lose sight of you and your friends for some time. Tell me, where do you plan to go next? What do you plan to do?
Truth be told, I don't know.
So join us. Let's help you see the world.
I agree.
Excellent. And he walks over and reaches out. You know, in fantasy movies where you don't shake hands, you like clasp arms. Welcome to the Wanderers.
And I grasp his arm.
As you do so, you feel like a blinding pain on your forearm.
Jesus
And
Christ.
a tattoo of the logo of the Wanderers appears there. And he says, so glad you've chosen to join us. And please tell your friend, the Forsaken, not to fuck this up. I can't afford another moonlight. And he gets into the elevator and disappears.
Jesus Christ, I was not expecting that weird branding to happen.
Cut to Quinny. You approach the table. It seems busy. Everyone, they're dealing with a lot of paperwork. There's like a lot of hotel keys. They also know that similar to the end of trivia at a bar, everyone's going to want to fucking leave the minute they don't win a thiefy. So they seem to be just in a tizzy trying to fix all that.
Okay. I'm going to attempt to approach the counter completely unnoticed.
All right. Roll me the world's best stealth check.
16.
Good news is they are very busy and they rolled very badly. So you're okay. Ooh. So you sneak up to the table. What do you do?
Okay. Got my hands on my hips, my foot is tapping, and I start by saying, hello, hello, excuse me.
Can you roll me an intimidation check?
Jesus, that's a 21.
This halfling's gonna murder us. So one of them just reaches over and starts tugging on the other one's sleeve, and they both look at you. Oh shit, it's the guy from Shag Nasty's. Guys, he's really important, and he gets really mad. Hello, sir. Hi. How can we help you?
Yeah, I left, got my soul stone, no problem. Now I came back in, blew into this thing like I know I'm supposed to, and no one's taken it from me yet. I'm gonna miss the thiefies if you don't take this.
The blood drains from their faces. They rolled an 8, so they are buying this hard. You watch one of them grab another one, slam his head on the table, and just punch him in the back of the head and be like, you idiot! We have to take the soul stones! And he's like, I know.
I'm just standing here waiting. Come on.
Look, sir, I'm so sorry. We would happily take a part of your soul. And you know what? Here's a coupon for 10% off the brunch buffet.
I take the coupon.
The guy who got punched is like, they always take the coupon. So they take the soul stone from you, and they kind of look you up and down. Quinny, which slot do you want them to throw it into?
The one that our soul stones are in. So I'm assuming the way we looked when we arrived, the one with the bodyguards and all that
So
stuff.
two?
I think it's slot.
Every one of us
Yeah.
is a murderer.
Yeah. That's my guess.
Can you roll me an intimidation check, please?
Yeah. 18.
So they go to throw it in like, he's a servant. And then you just take Frostbrand out and put it on the desk, and the desk just starts icing over. Oh, so they throw it into slot 2.
That's better.
Thank you, sir.
See that it doesn't happen again.
We will. For realsies.
And then I take the elevator down.
Alan, you're standing alone in your father's study, and all of a sudden, in your brain, because it's a heist, you see like a 3D map turning around, and you can watch a dot moving. And you can feel the enchanted soulstone moving through the building.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, it's like there's a huge blast of static, and you lose it. Can you roll me an Arcana check?
Fuck.
Try and keep hold of it.
16.
It blinks back in, but it's literally, if you're watching a monitor, it's like the monitor's fuzzing out. And you get the sense that it's phasing somewhere else.
Okay. Do I know where?
I'll let you spend a 2nd level spell slot to roll an Arcana check to figure out where it's going.
Yep, I'll take it. 16.
You can feel it going, but as it's doing so, you can bend your brain into it. Do you want to try and follow it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you basically break your brain in half, and you suddenly feel yourself pop out of existence.
Ah!
So, Bryn,
Why
No,
is it
that-
so
that was
hard
Alan-
to find
that
these
was Alan
goddamn
laughing.
soul stones?
Bryn, you have arrived back on the main floor.
My next task is to find those lawyers.
Can you roll me a deception check? Well, it sounds weird, but bear with me.
16.
You know where they should be, but you also know your dad. And you know he probably didn't put them where they should be.
Right.
The other thing you remember is that every time you've met these assholes, they've been really excited about all the stars. So
Right.
they're probably currently on the black carpet.
So I'm going to go to the black carpet and try to find them there.
All right. Can you roll me a perception check when you get there, please?
That is a 16.
It is a mob. So you look around and it's absolute chaos. You're trying to find them, but there's just so many assholes looking to get their photo drawn with people. But you lock eyes with the Forsaken, who is on the black carpet, and you feel like if you could get close, he might be able to help you because he's much taller than you.
Yeah, I look majestic.
Hey, Forsaken.
How can I help you, young girl?
I just love being in your presence. Actually, I really need to find those lawyers.
Oh, this is your make-a-wish? Well, I'll make this happen for you. And I scoop her up and I'm like, let's tour the carpet. And I just start walking down the aisle, but I'm in spiky armor, so I'm just knocking motherfuckers over. I don't give a shit. And I'm holding her up high enough that she could sort of point directions she would like to go where she might see them. I'm just waiting to see what we can find. I'm assuming perception checks?
God, yeah, perception checks would be great. Thank you.
16 again.
18 total for me.
So you're looking around again. There's just a mob of people who are looking for attention. But then all of a sudden, you hear someone go, "Wait, pardon me, Mr. Forsaken, Mr. Forsaken."
Ah,
And you
yes.
look down and you see a gnome who looks very litigious. His hair is also blue, like previously litigious gnomes you've met. "Hello, my name is Mr. Sneed, Sneed, Snyder, and Sneed. And I'm wondering if you are happy with your representation."
I don't know if I am, but let me introduce you to my latest Make-A-Wish special guest. This is Little Brynny. Having panicked, I have combined Bryn's name with Quinny's name in the shittiest portmanteau ever.
Well, hi there, little
Full-grown
Brynny. How are you doing?
I'm dying.
You're dying? Would your last wish be that Mr. Forsaken gets better representation by the likes of Sneed, Snyder, and Sneed?
Not only that, she was poisoned by the chemicals coming out of a factory.
Oh, no. Well,
And she has no legal representation.
you literally hear a swing. And he doesn't even try and hide it. He's just like, Mr. Forsaken, here's my card. And he hands you like the literally slimiest card. Listen, little Brynny,
Yes,
I
sir.
have some people I think you need to meet.
Oh,
Do you want to make the bad people pay some very good people enough money that some of them can retire with their mistress to a place far from here?
oh, gee, mister, that sounds swell.
Well, I think this sounds very legal. Is she an orphan?
Yes.
Oh, that's the best of news.
The
Come
first
along.
thing she needs is a legal guardian.
Come along, little orphan Brynny.
So they go off, but I've already turned to the closest magical equivalent of a camera, and I'm going, do you know erectile dysfunction is common for Reginald?
Meanwhile, in the province of Aka, Lady Antebellum turns to Archibald Tingler and says, "Wait, how did this get on air?" Cut back to Quinny. You've just come back down from upstairs and you go to the assigned meeting place with Alan. You notice that some of the spiders have fallen off and are like twitching on the floor. It's super weird.
All right.
Alan is nowhere to be found.
She knew this was the spot. I ask anyone kind of in the area, like, have you seen a woman? And I describe Alan.
Everyone's rushing to the black carpet and they're like, what? No. Can you roll me a perception check, please?
21.
So you're supposed to meet Alan near one of the elevator banks. And what's weird is you could swear that you hear Butthole yelling as loud as he can from downstairs.
All right. I head downstairs then.
So you get in the elevator, you come down to the security floor, it opens, and all you hear is Butthole or Bobbert or the Forsaken. It seems to be shifting between all three. Just screaming horrible lies about himself at anyone who will listen. Ryan, can you yell some lies for me?
Do you have a specific theme you would like for these lies?
Well, essentially what Quinny sees to his horror is a majestic statue of you that has appeared out of the scrying pool based on what I rolled for the beans that only spews lies about yourself. The most incriminating lies you can imagine.
Is
Okay.
it Butthole or Bobbert?
In your heart of hearts, are you Butthole or Bobbert?
Well, no, I mean, how is it dressed? That's all I mean. Is it in Forsaken armor or is it dressed as Butthole?
Half in Forsaken armor, half in Butthole armor. It, like you, is having a crisis of faith.
That makes perfect sense. I'm absolutely sure who I am. Also, I'm a rapist. Pursuant to Megan's law, I have to let you know I fucked your wife, dickhead. I have a real emotional problem with women and men and myself and deities. Have you ever tried murder? I think it's the best thing in the world. It feels great and it gives me boners.
So literally the security staff.
Where is the lie?
So the security staff is just staring at this in slack-jawed horror. And one of them's like, I did not know this about the Forsaken. And then another one's like, what are you talking about? I didn't know this about Reginald. That's clearly a Reginald statue.
If I'm down here at the scrying pools, can I look around and see if Alan's on any of the feeds?
She's not.
Where the hell is Alan?
Smash cut to, where the hell is Alan? Alan, you fall through the darkness in slow motion, Get Out style.
Jesus.
And then you impact on something and it slides around. And you can feel a bunch of things rolling under you. It's really awkward. And then you kind of look up and you realize you're on a mountain of soul stones
Oh, gosh.
in a dark void.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, our special guest, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. And tune in next week for more Dum-Dums and Dragons.